Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we're talking about a type of recognition that represents something fundamentally different from the awards and achievements that fans can directly influence through voting, streaming, or organized campaigns. We're diving into Jungkook being named a finalist at CICLOPE 2026, one of the most prestigious festivals in the global advertising and film industry, and specifically we're exploring why this type of recognition matters, what it tells us about the quality of work Jungkook is involved in, and why industry validation from professional juries who evaluate work purely on artistic and creative merit represents a different and equally important form of achievement. So make sure you hit that subscribe button because we're about to explore the significance of awards that are based entirely on professional judgment of quality, understand what CICLOPE is and why being a finalist there is so meaningful, appreciate what specific qualities in Jungkook's work earned this recognition, and recognize why this type of industry validation complements and validates the commercial success and fan support he already enjoys. Let me start by explaining what CICLOPE is because understanding this organization and what they do is crucial to appreciating why being named a finalist at their festival represents genuine recognition of creative excellence. CICLOPE Festival is an international celebration of craft and creativity in advertising and film, bringing together the world's leading directors, production companies, creative agencies, and brands to recognize and celebrate the best work in commercial filmmaking and advertising content. Founded in 2008, CICLOPE has established itself as one of the most prestigious and respected festivals in the global advertising industry, known for its rigorous standards, its focus on creative excellence rather than commercial success or popularity, and its jury process that brings together industry professionals with decades of collective experience evaluating creative work. What makes CICLOPE particularly significant is that it's not a popularity contest or a metrics-based ranking. Unlike awards that fans can influence through voting or that measure commercial performance through sales and streams, CICLOPE finalists and winners are selected by professional juries composed of industry experts, directors, creative directors, cinematographers, and other professionals who evaluate submissions based purely on creative quality, artistic merit, technical excellence, and innovative approaches to storytelling and visual communication. The jury doesn't care how many fans an artist has, how many views a video got, or how commercially successful the work was. They care about whether the work represents excellent filmmaking, innovative creative thinking, strong visual storytelling, and the kind of craft quality that advances the field and inspires other professionals. This jury-based evaluation process focused on creative merit is what I mean when I say this is an award that fans can't buy. No matter how dedicated Jungkook's fanbase is, no matter how much ARMY wants him to receive recognition, they cannot influence CICLOPE's jury decisions because the jury is composed of industry professionals evaluating work based on criteria that fans don't vote on or control. If Jungkook's work is named a CICLOPE finalist, it's because professionals who spend their careers creating and evaluating high-quality commercial content looked at his work and judged it to be among the best in the world based purely on its creative and artistic qualities. That type of validation carries different weight and different meaning than awards won through fan voting or commercial metrics, not better or worse necessarily, but different and valuable in its own right. Now let's talk about what work from Jungkook earned him CICLOPE 2026 finalist recognition because understanding the specific project helps us appreciate what qualities the jury was recognizing. While the exact category and specific submission details would need to be confirmed, CICLOPE typically recognizes advertising campaigns, music videos, and branded content that demonstrate exceptional creative vision, strong direction, innovative visual storytelling, and high production values. Given Jungkook's activities in recent years, the most likely candidates for CICLOPE recognition would be either his Calvin Klein campaign content, which featured sophisticated visual storytelling and high production values, or potentially one of his music videos that demonstrated exceptional creative direction and visual artistry, or possibly other branded content or commercial work he's been involved in that showcased strong creative vision. Regardless of the specific project, for work to be named a CICLOPE finalist, it needs to excel across multiple dimensions that professional juries evaluate. The visual cinematography needs to be exceptional, demonstrating strong understanding of composition, lighting, color, and visual storytelling techniques. The direction needs to show clear creative vision and ability to execute that vision effectively. The editing and post-production need to demonstrate technical excellence and support the storytelling rather than overwhelming it. The overall concept needs to be innovative or executed with sufficient originality that it stands out from the countless other commercial and advertising projects produced globally. And perhaps most importantly, the work needs to achieve its communicative and artistic goals effectively, whether that's selling a product, conveying an emotion, telling a story, or creating a particular aesthetic experience. Let me talk about why this type of industry recognition through professional jury evaluation matters and what it signifies beyond just adding another achievement to Jungkook's resume. When industry professionals recognize your work as being among the best in the world, it validates that you're operating at a genuinely high level of quality and craft, not just achieving commercial success or popularity but creating work that stands up to professional scrutiny in comparison with the best work being done globally. For someone like Jungkook, who is often discussed primarily in terms of commercial success, fan support, chart positions, and other metrics related to popularity and sales, having his work recognized by advertising and film industry professionals based purely on creative quality demonstrates that the success isn't just about having a large fan base or being commercially savvy but is grounded in genuine quality of the work itself. This industry validation also matters for credibility and opportunities because when creative professionals in the advertising and film industries know that someone's work has been recognized by CICLOPE juries, it signals that working with that person is likely to result in high-quality output that reflects well on everyone involved in the project. Directors, creative agencies, brands, and production companies pay attention to CICLOPE recognition because it helps them identify talent and creative partners who can deliver work at the highest levels of quality. For Jungkook, being a CICLOPE finalist enhances his credibility not just as a musical artist or celebrity but as someone whose involvement in creative projects adds genuine artistic and creative value, which can open doors to different types of opportunities and collaborations. Now I want to discuss what specific qualities Jungkook brings to creative projects that would earn the kind of professional recognition that CICLOPE represents, because understanding his contributions helps explain why industry juries would select his work as finalist-worthy. First and most obviously, Jungkook has exceptional visual presence and camera awareness that makes him compelling to watch and easy to film effectively. Some people are naturally photogenic and camera comfortable in ways that make a director's and cinematographer's jobs easier and that result in better final output. Jungkook has this quality in abundance. He understands how to work with cameras, how to hit marks, how to convey emotion and intent through subtle facial expressions and body language, how to maintain energy and presence across multiple takes and long shooting days. These professional skills make him a valuable collaborator on creative projects and contribute to the final work being of high quality. His artistic sensibility and creative input also likely contribute to the quality of work he's involved in because by all accounts Jungkook is actively engaged in creative processes rather than just showing up and following directions. He has opinions about visual aesthetics, he understands concepts and can contribute to developing and refining them, he brings ideas and perspective that can enhance projects. When you have someone who is not just a passive subject being filmed but an active creative collaborator who understands and contributes to the artistic vision, the final work tends to be stronger because it benefits from multiple creative perspectives working together rather than just one person's vision imposed on a reluctant or disengaged subject. His work ethic and professionalism are also factors that contribute to high-quality final output because creating CICLOPE-worthy work requires dedication, discipline, long hours, multiple takes to get things exactly right, and willingness to push until the best possible result is achieved rather than settling for merely adequate. Jungkook's reputation for professionalism, for being willing to work as long as needed to get something right, for taking his commitments seriously and delivering what's expected, all of this makes him the kind of collaborator that creative teams want to work with because they know the process will be professional and the results will reflect everyone's best work. Let me talk about how CICLOPE recognition fits into the broader landscape of awards and achievements because understanding different types of recognition helps appreciate why this matters independently of other achievements. The music industry has various awards, some based on commercial metrics like sales and streams, some based on fan voting where dedicated fan bases can push their favorites to victory, and some based on industry voting by professionals in the music business. Each type of award measures something different and has its own value. Commercial metric awards validate market success. Fan-voted awards validate audience connection and passionate support. Industry-voted awards validate professional respect from peers and colleagues. CICLOPE represents yet another category, recognition from creative professionals outside the music industry who are evaluating not musical talent or commercial success but the quality of visual and commercial content that an artist is involved in creating. This cross-industry recognition is particularly valuable because it demonstrates that Jungkook's appeal and the quality of work he's involved in isn't limited to music industry circles but is recognized by creative professionals in adjacent industries. It shows versatility and range, ability to excel in different contexts and different types of creative work beyond just music performance. The fact that fans can't directly influence CICLOPE outcomes through voting or streaming campaigns also makes this recognition valuable in a specific way because it eliminates any question about whether the achievement is real or whether it's just the result of organized fan effort. Nobody can dismiss a CICLOPE finalist selection as just fans inflating numbers or gaming voting systems because fans have no mechanism to influence the professional jury deliberations. The recognition stands entirely on the merit of the work as evaluated by industry experts, which makes it a particularly pure form of validation that can't be attributed to anything other than genuine quality. Now let's discuss what this recognition means for Jungkook's evolution as an artist and creative person because being recognized by CICLOPE suggests engagement with creative work beyond just music performance in ways that indicate artistic growth and expansion. Many musical artists remain focused primarily or exclusively on their core musical work throughout their careers, which is perfectly fine and valid. But some artists expand their creative interests and activities into adjacent areas like visual art, film, advertising, creative direction, and other forms of creative expression. Being involved in work that earns CICLOPE recognition suggests that Jungkook is actively engaging with these expanded creative opportunities and bringing sufficient artistic vision and collaborative value that the final work represents genuine creative excellence. This expansion and evolution is part of what makes artists interesting and relevant over long careers because it shows growth, curiosity, willingness to challenge yourself in new contexts, and development of artistic perspective beyond just your original area of focus. For Jungkook, involvement in creative projects that earn industry recognition from organizations like CICLOPE indicates he's not just resting on his musical success but is actively developing as a broader creative artist who can contribute value to different types of projects in different creative contexts. Let me talk about the technical and artistic skills that go into creating CICLOPE quality work because understanding what the jury is evaluating helps appreciate what Jungkook's involvement in finalist work says about his capabilities. Cinematography at this level requires understanding of visual composition, of how to use light and shadow to create mood and direct attention, of how color palettes communicate emotion and meaning, of how camera movement and framing can enhance storytelling. Direction requires clear creative vision, ability to communicate that vision to a team, skill in working with all the various professionals involved in production to achieve the intended result, and judgment about what's working and what needs adjustment during the creative process. Performance in this context means being able to convey intended emotions and characteristics convincingly on camera, being able to maintain consistency across multiple takes, having the stamina and professionalism to deliver quality work across long shooting schedules, and bringing authentic presence and charisma that makes viewers want to watch. Visual storytelling requires understanding narrative structure even in short-form content, knowing how to build emotional arcs and create satisfying viewing experiences, and having intuition about pacing and rhythm that keeps audiences engaged. All of these skills and more go into creating work that CICLOPE juries recognize as excellent, and Jungkook's involvement in finalist work suggests he contributes positively across these dimensions whether through his performance, his creative input, or his collaborative engagement with the creative process. Now I want to address how this type of recognition is received and valued differently by different audiences because the significance of CICLOPE finalist status might not be immediately obvious to everyone but carries particular weight in certain circles. Within the advertising and commercial film industries, CICLOPE recognition is highly valued and widely known. Creative professionals, directors, agencies, and brands understand what it means and respect it as validation of quality work. For people in these industries, seeing that someone's work was a CICLOPE finalist immediately signals that they're capable of high-quality creative output and would likely be good collaborators on future projects. Within broader artistic and creative communities, CICLOPE recognition represents the kind of serious industry validation that indicates someone is being taken seriously as a creative person beyond just their celebrity or commercial success. It's the difference between being famous and being respected for your craft, between being popular and being recognized as genuinely talented by people whose expertise allows them to evaluate quality accurately. For artists and creative people themselves, this type of peer and expert recognition often means more personally than commercial success or fan support because it validates that you're actually good at what you do according to people who truly understand the craft. For fans and general audiences, the significance of CICLOPE recognition might be less immediately obvious because it's not a household name like Grammy or Oscar, and because fans might reasonably wonder why they should care about advertising industry awards. But understanding that this represents pure merit-based recognition from industry experts, that its validation fans can't create through their support in campaigns but that comes entirely from professional judgment of quality, helps explain why this matters and why it's worth celebrating alongside the commercial achievements and fan-voted awards that Jungkook also receives. Let me discuss how artists can leverage industry recognition like CICLOPE finalist status for career development and opportunities, because these achievements have practical value beyond just prestige. When Jungkook or his team are discussing potential collaborations, partnerships, or creative projects, being able to point to CICLOPE recognition provides third-party validation of creative quality that can strengthen negotiating positions and open doors to opportunities that might not otherwise be available. Brands and creative teams want to work with people who will elevate their projects and reflect well on their own creative vision, and industry recognition from respected organizations like CICLOPE signals that someone brings that kind of value. This recognition can also influence what kinds of projects are offered and how an artist is positioned within those projects, because being known as someone whose work earns industry recognition means you might be given more creative input, more trusted to contribute to the artistic vision, treated more as a creative collaborator than just a celebrity endorser or passive subject. For someone like Jungkook, who clearly has artistic interests and creative vision beyond just performing, being recognized by organizations like CICLOPE for the quality of work he's involved in can help shift how he's perceived and what opportunities come his way. Now let's talk about the relationship between commercial success, fan support, and industry recognition, because these different types of validation serve different purposes and ideally complement each other rather than being in competition. Jungkook's commercial success through record sales, streaming numbers, concert attendance, and other metrics demonstrates market appeal and proves that his music and brand connect with large audiences who are willing to spend money to support him. His fan support, demonstrated through organized campaigns, social media engagement, and passionate dedication, shows that he creates meaningful connections with audiences who care about him personally and want to see him succeed. And his industry recognition through jury-based awards and expert evaluation validates that the success and support are grounded in genuine quality and creative excellence rather than being purely about marketing or fandom devotion. All three types of validation matter, and each strengthens the others. Commercial success provides resources and platform for creative work. Fan support provides motivation and audience for creative output. Industry recognition validates quality and opens doors to certain types of opportunities and collaborations. An artist who has all three, commercial success plus devoted fan support plus industry recognition of creative quality, is in an exceptionally strong position because they've proven they can succeed according to multiple different measures and appeal to different constituencies, from general consumers to dedicated fans to industry experts. In Jungkook's case, he demonstrably has all three. His commercial success is undeniable with record-breaking sales and streams. His fan support from ARMY is famously dedicated and effective. And now with CICLOPE recognition, we have validation from advertising and film industry professionals that the creative work he's involved in meets high standards of quality according to expert evaluation. This combination is powerful because it eliminates any angle of criticism or dismissal. You can't say the success is just commercial if there's also fan devotion. You can't say it's just fans inflating numbers if there's also commercial success. And you can't say it's just popularity without substance if industry experts are recognizing creative quality. Having all three types of validation creates a comprehensive picture of genuine accomplishment. Let me talk about what CICLOPE recognition specifically tells us about the quality standards Jungkook and his collaborators are meeting, because the criteria these juries use to evaluate work reflects what creative professionals consider important. Technical excellence in cinematography, editing, sound design, and production values is a baseline requirement because CICLOPE juries are composed of people who understand these crafts deeply and can recognize when work meets professional standards versus when it's merely adequate or amateur. Creative innovation, or at least fresh execution of concepts, is important because in an industry that produces countless advertising and commercial content, work needs to stand out in some way, whether through unique visual approaches, innovative storytelling, or excellent execution that elevates familiar concepts. Emotional impact and effective communication are crucial because regardless of how technically excellent or visually innovative work is, if it doesn't effectively communicate its intended message or create the intended emotional response in viewers, it's not truly successful as commercial or advertising content. Cohesive artistic vision where all elements work together to create a unified whole rather than feeling disjointed or unfocused demonstrates strong creative direction and collaboration. And production values that reflect appropriate resource allocation and professional expertise rather than looking cheap or poorly executed indicates serious commitment to quality. Meeting all of these criteria requires skill, experience, resources, and dedication, and Jungkook's involvement in work that CICLOPE juries recognize as meeting these standards indicates he's part of creative teams and processes operating at high professional levels. Now I want to discuss the specific CICLOPE 2026 context because understanding the competitive landscape helps appreciate what being named a finalist means. Each year, CICLOPE receives submissions from around the world representing the best commercial and advertising work from major brands, leading creative agencies, top-tier production companies, and acclaimed directors. The competition includes work from established industry veterans with decades of experience and multiple previous awards, from emerging creative talents trying to make their mark, and from major commercial campaigns with massive budgets and resources. Being selected as a finalist from this global pool of submissions means your work stood out to the jury as being among the very best produced that year across all categories and all markets. The jury process typically involves multiple rounds of evaluation where submissions are reviewed, discussed, compared, and winnowed down from hundreds or thousands of entries to a short list of finalists and ultimately winners in various categories. Each round requires the work to continue impressing jurors who are watching critically and comparing it to other excellent work. Making it through this process to be named a finalist represents surviving multiple rounds of professional scrutiny and continuing to hold up as exceptional even when compared directly to other top-tier creative work. That level of sustained quality across critical evaluation is difficult to achieve and represents genuine accomplishment. Let me address how this recognition fits into Jungkook's narrative and public perception because awards and achievements contribute to how an artist is understood and discussed by media, industry, and public. For Jungkook, who is often discussed primarily in terms of his role in BTS, his solo music success, his commercial achievements, and his popularity with fans, having CICLOPE recognition adds another dimension to his public narrative. It positions him not just as a successful pop star or popular celebrity but as someone involved in serious creative work that industry professionals respect for its quality. This expanded narrative creates more rounded public perception where he's understood as a multifaceted artist and creative person rather than being limited to one narrow definition or category. In conclusion, when we say that CICLOPE 2026 finalist recognition is an award that fans can't buy, we're highlighting that this represents pure merit-based validation from industry experts who evaluated Jungkook's work based solely on creative and artistic quality. This type of recognition matters because it validates that his success isn't just about fan devotion or commercial savvy but is grounded in genuine creative excellence that industry professionals can recognize and appreciate. It demonstrates versatility and artistic growth beyond just musical performance into broader creative and commercial contexts. It provides industry credibility that opens doors to different types of opportunities and collaborations. And it complements his commercial success and fan support by adding the crucial element of expert validation that you can't achieve through any amount of popularity or marketing. Jungkook being named a CICLOPE finalist tells us that he's involved in creating work that meets the highest professional standards of quality in advertising and commercial film, that he brings value to creative projects that goes beyond just his celebrity, and that his artistic development continues to expand into new areas where he's earning recognition based purely on merit and quality. Thank you so much for watching. Please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe for more content exploring different types of artistic achievement and recognition, and let me know in the comments what you think merit-based industry recognition means for artists.